I've just unlocked a new function of my 3D printer, and now my $300 printer has features of a $3,000 device. Recently, I built a wooden dance pad, but without arrows it just looks like plywood with holes. Paint would ruin the wood's aesthetic. I considered burning the arrows through a 3D printed stencil, but yeah, I definitely need a machine to do that. I don't have a laser engraver, but what I do have is a 3D printer. Let's try making a dot with a hot nozzle.
You stupid piece of machine.
Using the printer's tiny screen, I can only move the nozzle in huge steps. And push it too much. Time to hack it from my computer.
6 hours later.
I tried different programs, different settings. I even installed Linux, but nothing worked. Time to push it too much. I heated the nozzle to 300 degrees and slowly lowered it. It touched the wood and I instantly chickened out. There was a small dent, but no burn mark. Then I lowered the nozzle again and waited. And finally, a burn mark. Naturally, the next step was to try to make a line, but there was no burn mark at all. So dots it is. Now I needed to hold the wood in place somehow. I quickly modeled and printed brackets that clip onto the printer bed, custom made for my exact plywood width and thickness. Spoiler, a glossy magazine works even better. Time to automate the dot burning. The first problem is knowing where the surface of the wood actually is. ChatGPT told me the printer must touch the build plate for calibration. So I put plywood on the bed, build plate on top, hit home, and it worked. Now I needed to test if negative Z coordinates actually work. I asked ChatGPT for G-code to burn 5 dots at minus 1.2 millimeters. I removed the build plate and let the code do its work. No burn marks. I thought negative Z just doesn't work. But I tried minus 1.7 millimeters just in case. And voila, it worked! Time to make a full image. I uploaded an arrow to ChatGPT and asked it to generate G-code.
I'm super excited. So here is the beginning of the arrow.
It works, and here how it should look like. But asking ChatGPT for every single image is surprisingly easy. No, that's insane. Useless ChatGPT. I need a proper tool. So I subscribed to Claude and asked it to build me a website.
Okay, so I paid for Claude and it generated me a website which creates dot patterns and generates G-code.
I tested the print on a spare sheet for 2.5 hours and it looked fine. Time to print a real arrow in Scandinavian style. I left the print overnight. While I slept, I dreamed of dancing on my beautiful wooden dance pad. So, let's check it out. And it's like not too bad, but it has some defects. And also it's mirrored. It's mirrored! No! The mirroring happened because image coordinates start top left, but printer coordinates start bottom left. And the fading dots? Looks like the plywood wasn't perfectly flat. Who would have thought? By the way, during one of my test prints I forgot to put on the metal calibration plate. The printer just calibrated directly on the wood surface perfectly. ChatGPT lied to me. So I enabled the bed leveling function before each print. It helps the printer understand the unevenness of the surface. I tweaked the code and started printing a new arrow. Yes! Yes, it worked! But then I made a one-character mistake in the code and it decided to print outside the print area. I fixed it, and the next arrow turned out amazing. And the next one, and the next. During my next print, there was a power outage halfway through.
So there was a power cut, and I edited some G-code to hopefully continue from the same place. So it should level and continue from the next dot. So here is middle arrow continue. So let's do that and let's see what happens.
It left a small shift, but barely noticeable. At this point, the arrows were just a matter of time. The code was done and the printer did all the work. But most people don't have a dance pad to engrave. The real project here is the engraving itself. So I wanted to try printing something else. I bought pine, MDF, plywood, laminated board, cork and leather scraps. The brackets I modeled turned out to be inconvenient, so I decided to try different substrates. The glossy magazine showed great results, but plywood and MDF slipped, glitching out my arrows. On the website, I created a special test grid generator that lets you find the optimal depth and burn time for your material. So you just pick the dot you like, for example this one, and enter the corresponding depth and time into the settings. Alright, time to print myself on plywood. I used dithering to do this. It turned out pretty decent. I spent a lot of time developing my website to implement contour mode. It traces the actual image and makes lines more crisp. Look how smooth the map of Portugal and Apple's hello came out. I also developed a QR code generator and tested it on leather.
Yo, look at that. 1 minute left. And look at how cool is that.
It was so satisfying to watch it scan. I tried to print mountains on white leather, but it didn't burn. So I printed them on laminated board. The result was a bit disappointing. I liked the skull on the red leather the most. Absolutely wild. Overall, I learned how to use a 3D printer as an engraver. I built a web app that turns any image into G-code for your 3D printer, with dithering, contour tracing, QR codes, and test grid. The link is in the description and it's completely free. So please like, subscribe, and test it out. I spent almost a month building and testing everything. Dozens of test prints, 6 different materials, countless code iterations. And the dance pad? It's finally complete. I also made personalized gifts for my friends using this technique, but I will keep them a secret. If you want to try it yourself, here's a quick checklist. Unload filament, clean the nozzle, run a test grid, secure material, print, and share your results. I'd love to see what you come up with in my Telegram chat. See you in the next video!